Yeah, good morning, everyone. And this morning, I'm going to share one of my meditation practices. I think still falls within this combined tranquility and insight. One can take the kind of contemplative insight part of it, and if practiced in a formal sitting, we can also get into deep samadhi. And at least I could. And then it can also be practiced on a daily basis with the eyes open. So I'm just going to give a brief introduction to that for the practice itself. And whether you want to keep your eyes open or closed the beginning, it's okay. So much of our attention as we talk about mindfulness is the remembering to observe mind's attention, the movement of mind attention from object to object. The focus has been a lot on object. And just like when we have a certain feeling or emotion, we call it I'm anxious. But then we can feel very sticky about this feeling, very difficult. And the object is on that anxiety. And then we can create a little space by saying that, okay, I feel anxious. So it's a feeling, easier to kind of let go. And then we can say that actually I am aware of the feeling of the anxiety. So that creates a lot of space in between the I and the anxiety. There's the awareness, and it's only a feeling in here. So there's the awareness that bridge this thing. So what creates a lot of our suffering in my own contemplation is that because of the sense of contracted sense of self, if we eliminate that sense of I'm aware of a feeling of anxiety here, if there's only an awareness of the feeling, that's just an experience. Right? If we let go of the experiencer, the perceiver of this thing, then it's only an experience, like the Bahiya Sutta. There's only the experience. Seeing is just seeing, and hearing is just hearing. Thoughts just thought. Emotion is just emotion. Cognizing is just cognizing. So a lot of our meditation is going around about by doing other things and then eventually get to the sense of self. So what if we go directly to the sense of self and let go of the sense of self so that there's only the awareness of the experience itself? Then there's less suffering. For example, in my own experience, a lot of my suffering because there is a convergence of the me. If I see someone with flat tire on the side of the freeway, I may just have a few seconds of feeling sorry for that person, or maybe even past my consciousness, just go straight doing my own thing. But then if that flat tire happens to be me experiencing it, suddenly it's a huge thing. Oh, why me? Whatever, all the papancha coming up. And it's a sense of self. You see someone, you hear someone, a colleague is dying or something. You may feel sorry, whatever, for a few minutes, maybe once in a while. But if it's my mother, my brother, sister is dying, suddenly it's huge differently. I, me, myself, or I myself am dying, suddenly like huge stuff coming up. So the sense of the experience still the same. There's the event of dying, the event of flat tire, but suddenly it's the me that causes the suffering. So what if we use that example of I'm aware of the feeling of anxiety, and let's let go of the I sense of contraction? Then it's just an awareness. An awareness is just a field of awareness. As some of you may know that I like this metaphor of a field, like an electromagnetic field. Boris liked to use the gravitational field. All kind of the same concept of field transcends time and space and dimensions, and it be experienced anywhere, any place, any time. So the same thing as awareness. So when we look at the awareness, being not just aware of our sensation, feeling, the five senses, the sixth sense of the mind itself, but awareness is not confined to the body. You can see objects out there beyond your body. Even when you close your eyes, you can still be aware of that object. You can hear something that is 5 feet, 10 feet away, maybe on the neighbor when they play music very loud. And so your awareness is aware of something far away. So beyond the body. So as far as we know this from subjective standpoint, awareness has no boundary. And it's everywhere, any place beyond dimensions, time, and space. It's a field of awareness. So it's only when we create a temporary sense of self contraction that I am hearing this particular sound, that suddenly it becomes I, me, myself that's experiencing. So this meditation or contemplation is about letting go of that sense of self and allowing or inviting that sense of self to dissolve into this field of awareness. At the beginning, we may need to exaggerate it, just like while I start leading this experience, sometimes to relax the body, we may tense up the body a little bit, up the shoulder, and then relax. The relaxation becomes more profound and noted as we exaggerate the tension. Similarly, sometimes that sense of self at the beginning, we may need to exaggerate where that sense of self rather than who, like where it's located in the body, and exaggerating the color, the texture, and all that thing. And then it's easier to let go after that. But once we get a sense of how to let go of that thing, and it becomes natural. Whenever we notice a sense of self, just let go, let go. And this is what, in my opinion, what Bhante Vimalaramsi also mentioned, as we let go of the tension of the body, and we know the body and mind are related, that's when we experience mundane nibbana. Momentary dissolution of the sense of self, momentary letting go of the perceiver of an experience, when there's a movement of the mind into the field of open awareness. Like attention is like spotlight of our awareness into a specific area. But if the spotlight is pulled up to the sky, when it's an open sky, it has nowhere to land. And it becomes just the open awareness. You dissolve that temporary sense of self into the open awareness. There's nothing to perceive, and that momentary mundane nibbana. And if we experience it over and over and over again, short time, every time, short time, many times during the day, that's why the experience can also be done in an open eyes like this. And so as a preamble, I'd like to just think, whatever you're experiencing in this moment, notice, where is the experiencer? Where? Where is the sense of me who is, for example, if you're hearing my voice, where is the one, the me that is hearing this voice? Is it somewhere between your ears? Is it somewhere up behind the eyes? Or is it somewhere in your chest area? And see if you could exaggerate by noticing, by your first impression, that sense of me. What's the size of it? For me, oftentimes it's located behind the eyes somewhere in my head. Is it rounded, oval shape? Is it overlapping with my skull here, my body, or a little bit behind and to the side, or they're all inside the body, or they also overlap outside of the body? What's the color, if it has a color? What's the texture? Is it smooth? Is it rugged? And what's the quality? Is it heavy? Is it light? Is it ever-present? Or is it kind of very light, gas-like? All the modalities we can think of, just like we're tensing up before we relax, creating a more kind of concrete, where the sense of self, where we perceive the sound of my voice or the things that you see in front of your eyes. And then in order for you to know that there is such a self, for example, in my example, in the head, there's also a perceiver, another experiencer that know that there's an experience, that there's an experience of self. So there's a multitude, almost infinite number of selves that we create. So where is the perceiver, the experiencer of that know? Remember, awareness experiencing is the knowing that knows that, for example, in my head, there is this perceiver that feel like in the head. So the second perceiver in my own experience is feels bigger, feel like encompassing the head and the body, encompassing some area outside of it, like a big sphere, like colorless light. So whatever you experience, it just notice that. And then again, the third part of self. There's another self that's also experiencing, noticing, perceiving, because how do you know that there is such a sense of self, the second sense of self? That is the third part of that, the third sense of self experiencing. So I usually don't go too far. And for the first example like this, you can just look at the third experience and then invite that third sense of self itself, gently invite to just dissolve into the field of awareness that you experience. An awareness as though you lean back a little bit, you defocus your eyes and go into the peripheral vision where the attention has nowhere to land. There is nowhere to focus. Open field of awareness. And invite that third sense of self wherever it is located in your body. You may think it's only an imagination, but there is a perceiver. Whenever you think there's an I, there's someone who's perceiving, there's a perceiver. Invite that perceiver, the experiencer, to just dissolve into the field of open awareness, where the spotlight, the mindful awareness, that remembering how the mind's attention moves from one object to another, that the objects becomes non-discernible. There's no object to even see it because the object is the subject itself. It's a non-dual experience. So the invitation can be gentle to do that. Some people rarely have the experience like unable to do that. For unable to do that, we can just ask, there is another experiencer that notices there's unable to dissolve the sense of self. And then just invite the fourth experiencer to dissolve. But for most of us, in my experience, dealing with other people, it has no problem, especially for meditators. Occasionally when we have very dense sense of contraction of self, these are just, the sense of self is just contraction of this open, mindful awareness into this temporary, momentary sense of self. That's why we create millions, zillions of sense of self. All of them are temporary. And it have no problem normally to dissolve this into the open awareness. And once you dissolve into the open awareness, just rest and be. Rest and be. That's when there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to be. All just be. Until another thought, feeling, sensation, that the mind attention is brought back to something else, that mindful awareness becomes contracted again into something. So that's the basis of that. And let's just do the formal practice by just sitting down, relaxing, and close our eyes for the moment, please. And allow the body to relax. And just notice any tension in the body and allow the body to relax from the forehead to the edge of the eyes. Soften up the face and the edges of the lip. And it's okay to create a little bit of tension by smiling. Relaxation of the body is not all or none. There's always different levels of relaxation. The body cannot be completely relaxed because otherwise we will fall down as a puddle on the ground. There is some degree of tension needed to keep the body upright against gravity, but it's just minimal tension. So soften up the neck and the shoulder and allow that relaxation to extend to the trunk of the body, to the chest, the back of the abdomen, and both upper limbs. Allow them to relax. And the pelvis and the lower extremities just relax. It is a feeling like a bag of rice being put on the ground. And the heaviness drops down to the ground, drops down, down, and expand outward. It's the same, the heaviness of the body drops down to the cushion, to the ground, and the body becomes light. It's like an air mattress. The body is light but doesn't collapse. That's the relaxed strength. When an air mattress is empty, it doesn't support anything. But when there's air in there, there's empty strength. It can support hundreds of pounds body weight. And that's a kind of expansion of the body that we feel expanding, keeping the spine upright, being expanded without effort. And it feels as though the crown of the head is being suspended from the ceiling without putting muscular effort or minimal muscular effort. Let the fascia take care of it, creating a sense of tensegrity, tension, and integrity that supports the entire body lightly, relaxed, yet remain strong and upright. With that, the body becomes more relaxed, and the relaxed body translates to a more relaxed mind, as the body is in the mind. Allow the mind to settle for now. And just notice the open awareness that's already there. The open field of awareness that's here and now. A sense of knowingness, mindful awareness of the body as we just went through. The relaxation part of the body. Mindful of the empty strength of the torso as the body weight sink down and expand downward, and the body is comfortably relaxed, upright, and expanded. That sense of knowingness, and just tune into the field of open awareness. Defocus from the body and then just experience this moment as it is. Open. Where there's no focus for the attention. Like a spotlight in the sky. Nowhere to land. Just rest and be for a moment. Eventually the mind's attention is pulled back to something. Whether it's the sound of my voice or the images behind your eyelids or the sensation of your seat or your cushion or some feeling, sensation internally inside the body or some thoughts, feelings, emotions. Sometimes those of us experiencing certain emotional upheaval, there's recurrent emotions, feelings, thoughts coming up. Whatever that is, let's look at where the experiencer is. Even if you're just experiencing sensation of the body in this moment, just notice where the experience is. If it's a neutral experience, just experiencing the sensation of the body, the seat of the cushion or the back against the chair, it's just neutral. But if there's a painful feeling, just notice where the location of the pain and what the texture, what the quality is, what's the shape. If there's certain emotion we're experiencing in this moment, emotions are just a label, grieving, regrets, sadness. They're just labels for what the body is experiencing in this moment. Different qualities. Just get back to the raw qualities of the body. We're experiencing certain emotion. Just notice the qualities of these emotions. Where is it in the body you're experiencing? In the chest, in the solar plexus, abdomen, the shoulders, the back, the head, the throat, the neck, wherever it is. What's the size of that experience? What's the color? What's the shape? What's the texture? Just use your first impression. Just like tensing up the muscles before we relax. Just noticing this. And then next, just notice, where is the experiencer, the one who knows that such shape, color, location, texture, quality? Where is that knower, that experiencer, that perceiver that is aware of this feeling or sensation? Where is it located in the body? Just first impression. First impression quality. Shape, color, texture, rough, smooth, quality, light, heavy, effervescent. And then invite this sense of self, this limited, contracted sense of self. Invite it to dissolve into this open awareness. It's like a transition slide. When you create a slide, you transition from a particular picture to a blank screen. Transition can be abrupt. Transition can be slow and gradual. It doesn't matter. It is a transition to this open awareness. Just invite open awareness. Once you're in the open awareness, just rest and be. Rest and be. If there's a denial of access, so to speak, that sense of contraction, contracted sense of self is unable to dissolve into this open awareness, or there's somehow an inability to do that, something is rejecting it, then notice, where is the one that rejects this? The one that experiences the inability to dissolve. There is still a sense of self. Where is it located? What's the shape, color, texture, quality? And invite this second one to dissolve. Just gently invite, not forcing to dissolve into this open awareness. Once in the open awareness, just rest and be. Just simply be. And so forth. If there's difficulty getting into the open awareness, invite the one that's perceiving, experiencing it into the open awareness again. Most people have no difficulty getting just opening to dissolving this contracted sense of self into the open awareness. That's the momentary experience of the mundane nibbana. There's temporary dissolution, momentary dissolution of the sense of self into this open awareness, where all there is just the awareness of the experiencing what it is in this moment, experiencing this moment without a sense of self, where there's an experience without the experiencer, and getting used to the idea that there can be an experience, there can be experiencing without an experiencer, where all suffering dissolves. And as you get used to it, the process becomes more familiar. As soon as something comes up, whatever brings up to the memory or to the experience of this moment, whether it's any of the six senses coming up, there's a memory of something coming up, or a thought, or a smell, or a sound, or a mental picture, or a real visual picture. Just notice, where's the sense of self? If there's a sense of self, where is it? And then immediately just dissolve it into the open awareness. Let go of the contracted sense of self. It's just a contracted, awareness into the sense of self. Let go that into the open awareness. Maybe a few seconds later, something comes up again. Invite it again into the open awareness. And be. Then something else may come up and invite it again. Where is the me that's experiencing it? Wherever that might be. And then invite it to dissolve into the open awareness. That process can just take a fraction of a second. Once we've practiced this thing, be an ongoing process throughout the day. Whenever remember there's a sense of self that's experiencing the experience. So this moment is like this. And there's no need for an experiencer to experience this moment. It's like this. And it's like this. And it's like this. And it's like this. And it's like this. It's always just like this. There can be an experience without contracting into a self that's experiencing. And get used to dwelling, resting, and being in the field of open awareness, that mindful sati, mindful awareness, without an object. Without a subject. There can be an object without a subject. Can be. And I invite you to get into a series of this. Anything that comes up in the field of the awareness, let go of the perceiver, the experiencer, over and over and over. Then you can just rest and be into deeper and deeper samadhi of the open awareness.